Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about Scream 6, the 2022 movie, the movie that was made by Radio Silence. So this movie, I don't know, it is a whole lot better than Scream 5. I'll give it that. But when I first watched this movie, I was extremely excited because it reinvigorated my love for Scream. Because a lot of things lately just haven't been like doing it for me. But then after I watched it, like I said, about what was it, a month and a half ago or something like that, maybe a month, I started to overthink the movie, and then I started to not enjoy it as much as I normally did. I still like it. I still think it's better than 5, but this movie makes absolutely no sense. And I mean absolutely no sense. Radio Silence did not write a very strong movie. And there's so many confusing factors in it that it has left a lot of people bewildered and everything. And I don't understand what went wrong and everything in the writing process. Like, I've made a couple of videos about this and theory videos and stuff like that, but it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's just this weird. Like, we were told, this is the most ruthless ghost face we ever had, but not really and everything. This was going to be the most bloodiest movie, but not really, you know what I'm saying? And the whole New York setting, I feel like they did not take advantage of the New York setting and stuff. So there was no real point in putting it there. But you know what's really crazy? A long time ago, I made a video to how to combine all the Screams together. The original cast, the new cast, and the television series of the two different casts on that. Because in the second season of the television series, one of them literally said they want to go to college in New York. Come on, man. They should have done something with that. But I'm just gonna basically break down the movie. It's Halloween time, Halloween month. Talk about the things I like and don't like and stuff like that. I'm not gonna try to make it too long because I have made plenty of videos about this already. But it's just like, I like talking about like Halloween movies around Halloween time, and I love myself some Scream. And like I said before, it's a good movie. It's just not great, but it's a whole lot better than 5. And so I do love the opening. Like, the openings are always normally really good in Scream movies and stuff. And here, I love the interaction with like the blonde girl, the teacher professor lady, and the one dude from the Spider-Man MCU movies. I forget his name, but Flash Thompson. And I'm surprised he used his real voice for the phone call. At first I thought he was using a voice changer, but he wasn't. And so the interaction between those two was great. It felt very realistic. And Samara Weaving is very Euro and everything when she talks and that. And so, it just really set that mood. And it was a very intense phone call where you were just waiting for him to jump out at her, and especially with the alley and everything. And, it was just like a really cool, creepy scene. And then the shockers when he took off his mask. I'm like, no way. And this is something I've been kind of wanting to happen. I wanted at least one killer to stay hidden and the other one to expose the identity. That way you can go throughout the entire movie wondering when they're going to make their next kill or what they're going to do that's going to be so bad. You know what I'm saying? But then I'm like, nah, something weird is going to happen. I just know it is. And then the actual other killers actually call him. And he thinks it's his roommate who's also the second killer and stuff. And basically they're just two film students who want to finish Richie's movie. So they one of them off the professor and stuff. And so like I love even more the phone call with like him and everything. And I really love how like the Rogers dude really talked during the phone call. So the interaction with the two killers on the phone and then the dude and like the refrigerator and the whole hot or cold thing, that was just all great. And it was a nice, really good setup for like, the beginning of this movie that really got you hype and everything. And he's all like, who cares about an effing movie and everything? But then the real killers actually do care about movies. That's the part that don't make no sense. It's like they say they don't care about scary movies, but yet they still want to finish like Richie's movie, so that contradicts them. And then so we get like, the scene with what's her name? Is it Sarah? Sarah and her psychiatrist and everything. The actress Melissa has done a better job acting in this movie than she ever did in the fifth movie. In the fifth movie, her acting was abysmal. But her acting did also get better in La Vida as well. And, I'm so much happier that her acting got better because it just was not good in the fifth movie. You can tell she really honed her craft in this movie because a lot of people was not happy with her in the fifth movie. But in the psychiatrist's office, it's funny because we get an Easter egg to the Addams family. And that's important because Jenna Ortega played Wednesday recently. And so there are figurines of the Addams family in there. I wondered if people catch them because they're on the desk next to the psychiatrist. And so basically we learned that, is it Sarah? That's her name, Tara and Sarah. Is it? Oh, I'll figure it out later. But anyway, basically, she's being framed for the killings in the fifth movie. The internet pretty much made the whole Richie thing like he's innocent, him and Amber, and it was really what's her name, the orchestrated era thing, which was really crazy and freaks out her psychiatrist. But what freaks him out even more is that she said it felt right to like kill Richie. She even literally tells him, like, I think it was 28 times she stabbed him, then slit the throat, then shot him. That was a little too precise to know exactly how many times you stabbed him as you're stabbing him, just counting down the stabbings. I wish she would have said it felt good instead of it just felt right, because that would have made it seem more like she really, really, really enjoyed it. And so after that, she goes home and, she sees her roommate Quinn, who's banging some dude, and she finds out Tara is at a party. Now, the party scene. This entire scene pissed me off so much, and it's because of the frat guy, but not what you think. I am actually going to defend the frat guy, and I want you to hear me out because I'm about to cook. Because if you rewatch this movie and you pay close attention, it's not what you think, but the writers made you believe that, and because of that, tons of people online hate the frat guy and actually wanted him to die in the movie when actually he did nothing wrong. And it's something that's been bugging me for the longest time that I have not brought up in none of my other videos. And I've rewatched like the movie so many times and I watched that scene and literally he did nothing wrong. So basically we get our introduction to the group. We get Mindy and her girlfriend and, Mindy's drinking surprisingly after Mindy said in the last movie she doesn't want her senses to be dulled because, she lives in like a movie reality type thing. And so Tara is at the party and Tara is talking to a frat guy. And Tara has been drinking. But here's the thing. Tara is not drunk. Tara is not like stumbling over, slurring her speech. She's not drunk. She's a little tipsy, but Tara has full range of her cognitive functions and everything. She knows exactly what's going around her. Like, she is not drunk at all. The frat guy, however, is drunk and everything. He still has a little bit of his wherewithal, but he stumbles when he walks and his eyes are glazed over. The moment, like, they're talking about drinks and this and that, they're talking about how they want the hard stuff. So he's all like, I got some fire bombs or something like that in his room. I don't know what those are. I don't drink. So he goes upstairs with Tara. This alerts Mindy's girlfriend. And I have to call her Mindy's girlfriend because we really don't know her name. And her name's not really mentioned until she's about to get off and everything. And so So like a good friend, they want to stop Tara from going upstairs and sleeping with this dude because they don't know how drunk she is. This is the problem now I have with this whole scene. He, like I said before, he's drunk. He introduces himself to Mindy's girlfriend. Mind you, Mindy's not doing nothing. She sees the whole thing and she's cool with everything that's going on because she's been keeping an eye as well, and she can tell Tara is not drunk. The frat dude introduces himself to that of Mindy's girlfriend, and automatically she's rude to him, talking about, I have no interest in knowing who you are or anything about you. That is about as rude as you can get, and it makes her seem like the angry female lesbian and everything. It really does. And so, Tara's all like, I got this and everything as she's walking upstairs. So then you have Tara, not Tara, but Mindy's girlfriend going to get Chad, Mindy's twin brother. Chad is drinking, acting like a fool with his roommate, and trying to hook his roommate up with a girl, talking about, my roommate's a snack, ain't he? You want that snack, don't you? But he doesn't know what the word snack means. Basically, it means somebody who looks good, tastes good, and you're gonna get yourself some. And you're gonna fool around and play around with them, but you're only gonna snack on them, and you probably don't want no full meal. Basically, he's trying to get his roommate laid and everything. This is where the hypocritical crap is about to happen next. The girl, Mindy's girlfriend gets Chad, and Chad's all like, nah, dude, she ain't going up there. And so this pisses off the frat guy and everything. And this was caused like a shoving fest back and forth, where Tara is trying to stop them. So then the frat dude grabbed Tara by the arm and he's dragging her up the steps, but she trips and falls, and this causes now Chad and the dude to fight. Sarah comes in with a taser and tases him in the balls. And so he's all like, oh, my balls, and all this other crap. So this pisses off Tara and she leaves. Now, why am I defending the frat guy, you might ask? Well, because of the simple fact, one, Tara is just tipsy. She's not drunk and she still has full range of what's going on. Two, she wanted to go up there because she wanted to hook up and get laid. Therefore, Tara, knowing everything that's going on around her, was consenting 100%. She wanted to get herself some and everything. She did not care. If anything, she was going to take advantage of the frat guy because he's the one who's drunk and everything, while she is just tipsy. However, the entire group making it seem like the frat guy was going to drug her, take advantage of her, and like do her against her will. Even at one point, one of them calls him frat guy Mick, the R word, like as assault. You know what I'm saying? Man, you really got to choose your words correctly on YouTube. You can't say things like you used to. So they literally paint him as somebody who's gonna assault her and everything. Yeah, he was gonna get busy with her, but like I said before, she was completely fine and she wanted some. Even to the point where she still had the wherewithal to argue with her sister outside and saying this is her life, and if she wants to get laid by some frat dude, she will get laid by a frat guy and everything. She 100% consented. She knew everything that was going on and everything. She wanted to have fun with some random dude and everything. And she even had the wherewithal to hold her sister back as some random person tosses a drink on her and calls her sister a murderer. And so it's kind of like, okay, so the frat dude who's drunk and was going to get himself some with a person who wanted to get some, not only did he get assaulted twice, but he's now being painted as like a terrible person in the movie and online. Because I've seen people on Reddit talking about he should have died because he was going to take advantage of like Tara. She knew what was going on. Like, that's what I don't get. And then not only that, but then even more hypocritical, Chad takes Tara back to her room. They're talking, they're having a good conversation, and then they both lean in for a kiss. So he was going to get himself some until Quinn, interrupted that. So that makes him look like a huge hypocrite and everything. He was supposedly gonna protect her from the very thing he was about to do, but yet nobody gets on chat about that. And yet the frat guy got tased and everything and pushed and shoved. I want people to go back and watch that entire thing because it's not what you think it is. It's the writers trying to write kind of this awareness type thing by painting this dude in a bad light, which caused the audience to assume he's a terrible bad person. And if he was a terrible bad person, I would not have defended him. But the simple fact that he literally did nothing wrong. And he did something him and her drinking about to do it. This is something that tons of people do in the real world. They do that when they go to clubs. They do that when they go to parties. They end up on the Murray show talking about yo man, I was drunk. I don't know if I'm the baby father or not. And stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's weird how people paint the frat dude as that terrible person when he literally did nothing wrong. Now, if he were to do something wrong, like give her too much alcohol or force it down her throat, or if she was to say stop and he didn't, then by all means, he will be a terrible person. But none of that happened. Yet everybody paint him as a bad person. Holy crap, been talking about this for 10 minutes. Let's move on. And let me just reiterate in case somebody get the wrong impression because they feel like it for no apparent reason. I said people get drunk, go to clubs and bars, and get laid all the time. It's what people do. What I'm not saying is people purposely get people drunk or spike their drink and then take advantage of them. That is not what I'm saying. And what makes Sam, that's her name, Sam, not Sarah, because it's Tara and Sam. And what makes Sam an even more hypocrite is that we find out just after that scene, she's hooking up with the guy who lives across the building from her. And yeah, she's getting on to her sister about her sister trying to get some. I just don't understand that. Also, there's another Wednesday reference because there's a girl in the movie wearing a Wednesday outfit minus the pigtails and stuff. And so, as many people know and everything, Scream 6 is basically Scream 2. It's the whole requel, redoing, retelling everything. Similar to how Scream 5 was the first Scream movie. So they're in the college setting. So instead of Ohio, it's New York. And so Chad's role basically in this movie, I do like the interaction between him and Tar. But it is weird they're going to start a romance because they didn't really have that many scenes together in the fifth movie, and they never liked each other in the fifth movie. And he had a girlfriend. And so what's weird about this is that basically in this movie, this is his real only motivation is to protect and like Tara. Because the writers couldn't think of anything for him other than just being romantic interest. And I hate when they do that. Give this dude something to do. He's had the same type of role he had in Scream 5 when he had Liv as a girlfriend. And so, basically, they leave the party. Also, I want to point out that Tara also had the wherewithal to use her inhaler. She's not drunk. So, after what's-her-name hooks up with the dude next door, it turns out there's another killing spree going on. This terrifies Sam. To the point where Sam is probably one of the smartest people in the Scream franchise. She wants to get out. She doesn't actually leave, but she wants to pack up her stuff with Tara and leave. But Tara does not want to. And so after talking to Quinn's dad, Sam is being framed for the murder of the first ghost or the first two Ghostface in the beginning of the movie. So as they're walking the streets and everything, they get a call from Ghostface. And, Sam is being like all tough to Ghostface and everything. And then next thing you know, here comes Ghostface trying to attack Tara first. Tara might be 5 foot, like 1, 2, 3, something like that. But the girl is tough. She's always fighting off Ghostface. She's a completely different character than she was in the first. In the first one, she fought Ghostface, but she kept getting stabbed a lot and ended up in the hospital for the rest of the movie and constantly having to like crawl her way out, bleeding and everything when Ghostface was like creeping up on her. This movie, she's a lot more tougher. She's constantly punching, kicking Ghostface, and she's a lot tougher and meaner. Once again, she ain't drunk. She's just a little tipsy, but if she's able to fight off a killer, she ain't drunk. You know what I'm saying? And one of the reasons why, so another thing also, the character's throwing out more F-bombs than she did in the first movie. Why? Because one, Jenna Ortega is trying to shed her Disney Channel image. This is something that happens with every former Disney Channel star. Every time they get into an R-rated movie or PG-13, something like that, they always throw down some F-bombs or some other curse words and stuff. Or a little reveal here and there. And so she's throwing out way too many to the point where it seems a little desperate. Like, we get it. You ain't Disney Child no more. Also, Jenna Ortega is the new it girl in Hollywood. So they're giving her character a whole lot more to do and being a whole lot tougher. Because she was sidelined for a lot of the fifth movie because her character was injured. Even Paramount Plus uses her screen picture as the thumbnail picture for Scream 6 movie. That is how much of an it girl she is, to where they're not even using the actual final girl picture. They're using the co-final girl picture. When they have Scream 5 and all the other Scream movies on there, and they use the actual poster picture for the DVD as the thumbnail, but not for this one. So basically, Ghostface chases them into a bodega. And this is where we get like Ghostface holding a shotgun when he takes it from the clerk. And it was kind of cool to see him using a shotgun, but we've seen him use like a 9mm before and stuff. Basically, you know, they escape and he leaves behind the mask. The theme of this one is that the killers are leaving the mask behind of the former killers in the order of descension and everything. So the one they left behind is the one who killed Richie Mask. Or it was Richie Mask used for the first killing in the movie. But anyway, they're leaving Mask behind in the order of like, you know, the descendants of like, you know, descending order of like the killer's mask and stuff. Which is a similar plot to Scream 3. And so from this point out, we get reintroduced back to Mindy and stuff. Because after the whole bodega thing, you know, they talk to like, you know, the police officer. And he basically tells them they just cannot leave. And Sam wants to leave. She does not want to stay there. This is what I like about Sam. She is smart to the point in both movies where she wanted to leave. But Tara never really wants to, which is really weird and bizarre. But even though she wants to leave, something always brings them back there. But we now get our Mindy Randy moment. And I prefer this one a whole lot better than Scream 5. Here, I really felt like she was the geeky, nerdy person geeking out over movies and explained the whole rules of like this movie franchise thing. Some people do not like her delivery in this movie, but I absolutely love it. Her hair, her clothes, and the way she's talking really sets the mood as opposed to Scream 5. I never really got that sense that she was a geeky nerd. She just looked way too glamorous with her hair, her clothes, and then her just geeking out over movies and stuff. And nothing to dig on this hairstyle, but the shorter hairstyle, the brown clothes, the drapery clothes, it just feels more nerdish with her character. And so basically, she's blaming everybody in their circle group except for the core 4. And so, like, she even blames her girlfriend. And she even blames, like, you know, the two dudes who are, like, the two new people who are there. And it's really interesting because they take offense to it. And they're like, well, no, one of y'all could be like the killer, like the core four. Talking about one of y'all could have snapped because of the traumatic stuff that happened to you and became the killer, which is something fans have been saying for the longest time when it comes to certain survival characters and stuff. So I do like how the writers are paying attention to like fan theories and stuff. But, basically she tells them, they're in a franchise, which in some ways they kind of are and they kind of aren't. For me, a franchise, you have to have more than just like the core prime movie that establish it. You gotta have spin-offs and this and that and reboots. Well, if you think about it, the TV show was somewhat of a reboot, kinda. It was it was kind of like a reboot remake type thing, the television series. And then you have the movies, and then now you have the movies that are sequels that are trying to be rebooted, reboots of the franchise. So you have like four originally was supposed to reboot the whole thing, but failed at it. And then you have five that did succeed in rebooting it. So in some manner of speaking, yeah, they are in like, a franchise now, which is always weird to say for movie. I just always call them sequels. But there are times I do call them franchises and stuff, but franchises have like completely different rules than that of like a horror movie. So that kind of bugs me right there, because now they're no longer treating Scream as like a slasher horror thing. Now they're just treating it as this big blockbuster franchise thing. And that's gonna be their downfall. Because, Scream is like not the OG, because there were other slasher movies before that. But Scream redefined the genre. My God, it set the world on fire back in the late 90s and stuff. To where it reinvigorated slasher movies. It reinvigorated teen movies, romance movies. It was a juggernaut, you know what I'm saying? So to treat it as kind of like this, Avenger type thing, like blockbustery, like franchise type thing, it kind of like sets me kind of like on a sour note. And so now we get the reintroduction of Gale Weathers, which I've already made a video about how they disrespected Gale in the original one, so go watch that. I don't like how they brought her back to Scream 1 and 2 level. Gale has evolved beyond belief of what she was in Scream 1. And now she's back to that point, and it's just such a disrespect. So now she's fighting with the Carpenter sisters and everything, because she exploited what happened to them in Scream 5. And this really upsets them to where Sam tries to punch her, misses, and then Tara actually clocks her. And so then we get that line about Sydney, how she took the twins and her husband and left. That is one of the worst lines ever, because in Scream 5, Sydney literally came back and she had twins and a husband, but she knew she had to get rid of Ghostface, because if she didn't, they will eventually go after her. And for her to cower and run is just a disrespect to the character. And we all know why she didn't come back, because the actress did not want to come back because she was not paid the money she needs to be paid. And so, like, this now causes Gale to do all her investigation stuff off screen, which is a big bummer. And so now we get reintroduced back to another legacy character after the cop interrogates, like, the Carpenter sisters, because the shrink died by the hands of Ghostface, got stabbed up the nose, but his death wasn't really all that fancy, and there was no phone call or nothing like that. And the reason why the killer went after the shrink is because of the fact that since was treating Sam, he's a liability, because he doesn't know what all she told him and stuff. And the Ghostface stole the file on her, similar to Scream 3. So the detective dude, like, he gets introduced to Kirby as he talking to the Carpenter sisters. And it turns out that Sam was a freshman when Kirby was a senior in high school, and so they knew each other. And she talks about how she got stabbed, and the motivations of the killer, had to leave a mask behind, and like stuff like that. And she is desperately trying to find out who this Ghostface is. It's to the point where it's later revealed that well, we don't even really know if she's been fired from the FBI, but she's gone a little cuckoo trying to find out like the whole lead to this new Ghostface thing. It could be just a ruse, but that's like her part of the story. So she's helping out and stuff, but it's kind of like even her investigations are off screen and everything. And so now that we're back at like the apartment, everybody's like kumbaya and everything, and they're having their heart to hearts. And this is the part where this franchise is starting to turn into like a teen drama or a television drama. We get this very quiet moment with Sam and like Tara, and it's a little too quiet, and the dialogue isn't as edgy as I want. It's nice, don't get me wrong, but it just feels weighed down, and it weighs down the movie, especially with the sappy music in the background. Whereas they've had emotional talks and Scream in the past, but it was always edgy. So of course, Ghostface is finally calling and finally showing up, and her boyfriend across the building, he sees Ghostface like in the room with Quinn, and so he's trying to alert the core four, but to no success. And so once it is revealed Ghostface is there, this is when we get our big chase scene. And Ghostface just straight up stabs. I think her name is Annika, who is the girlfriend of like Mindy. And so like she like literally gets stabbed, twists the knife, and then run the knife up her stomach. You would think she would die right then and there, but no, she has plot armor and everything. And I don't get that. Like, how no, like you see blood dripping from her stomach, and yet she survived enough to run around the apartment building and run across a ladder. And this is the part that just baffles me at all the plot armor that's in this movie and the silliness of it. How in the world did the Shrink died from getting stabbed in the nose, but she literally had got stabbed in the gut? And when you twist the knife, supposedly the wound will not close because and then it ran up her. So how, man? Gut should have been falling out. And so creepy boyfriend dude across the street, who they're not calling really that creepy, but they allude to it, has a ladder to go across the building. And why? Who was he hooking up with in that building before he started hooking up with Sam? And so, like, 'cause they only been there for 6 months. And so they all crawl like across the ladder, and of course the last one is Annika. And Ghostface all like, nah, screw this crap. I'm just gonna like wobble the ladder and make you fall off in one of the biggest head explosions you ever seen and stuff. And so like they all get away, and basically from this point on, Quinn got like hacked up and everything by the killer, and so did her boyfriend who she was banging, got messed up in the tub. And the thing about her boyfriend is that Quinn is a very underdeveloped character, and they gave her a bang buddy, and we never get to see his face until he's actually dead. So it's just like it's pointless characters in this movie, and this movie has a lot of pointless characters. Annika was literally just brought in to be like, Mindy's Asian girl fetish, which she has, because if you go back to Scream 5, she loves Asian girls and stuff because she hooked up with a random Asian girl in Scream 5, and now she's dating another one in Scream 6. And there's nothing wrong with having liking Asian people. That's not what I'm saying. It's just it's funny because there are people in America who have the fetish and everything. And so like Annika was literally just brought in to be like the angry lesbian girl who hates on men and date Mindy and then just die. That's not character development, and it's a waste of character potential. They could have done more with her, and they could have done more with so many other characters, like the therapist and everything. He's an incompetent therapist who got scared over Sam and those alleged like she set up the whole thing. And so this is at the point where they realize, or at least Tara realized, you know what, we need to capture Ghostface and kill him. She's taking the point initiative and not Sam. That's so weird. This is why she needs to be the main final girl instead of the co-final girl. And so because of this, the detective guy, he's upset because his daughter's dead and like all this other stuff, and him and Sam and Tara, they're gonna go after like Ghostface. This is when, you know, at some point Gail comes back after doing detective work off screen, talking about she found something. And then we get the shrine. The shrine is extremely cool to see. The shrine, I thought, would have played a big pivotal role in the movie, similar to Stu's house in the fifth one, but no, it's a bigger letdown than Stu's house. Basically, the killer has been collecting all kind of stuff from the very first movie. Even stuff this killer has no way of getting their hands on, but then they are. And both the cops are like, oh, they probably bribed like a police officer. So now this makes you wonder which one of them is the killer. And so, like, when I say this Ghostface has been collecting stuff, they've been collecting stuff. Even to the point where they basically collect all the clothes the killer has worn, all the clothes the survivors have worn, all the costumes, all the masks, all the buck knives, some other little trinkets here and there. And for some bizarre reason, Randy's work shirt from the first movie, which makes no sense because Randy never wore the work shirt when he was getting stabbed, and he never died in the first movie. So this, now I still have that theory, the twins are up to something, especially Mindy. How did they get their hands on that shirt? And Mindy was the first one to point that out. They make reference to Stu and the TV falling on his head and like stuff like that. And there's a nice little trivia movie thing with Kirby and Mindy, because, you know, people are wondering how come, you know, Kirby don't sound the same. I'm okay with her evolution. I talked about that in my other video. Go watch that. I'm totally okay with her maturing because she's like 30 now. She was 15 when she was in Scream 4. So she's matured and everything, you know? And so they plan on capturing that of the killer, which leads them to one of the coolest scenes ever, the subway scene. So they're in the subway, and Mindy's at the point where she's just like, screw you, new guy, I don't trust you or nothing like that, and you stay away from me and everything, because she only trusts the core 4. And so, like, they get separated, and it's Mindy and the new guy, whose name I forgot, because it don't really matter in my opinion. They really didn't build this character up all that well. And so, like, they get separated, so they take another train, and she wants him nowhere near her. So while on the train, there are tons of people in costume, and there are great cameos from other horror movies. But there are tons of people on the subway train who have Ghostface costumes. This makes Mindy very paranoid, especially when one is constantly staring at her. And so it's very beautifully set up, like, you know, from the camera angles and the different like cuts and everything are going from Mindy to the new guy to Ghostface and everything. And so, like, you know, and the cameras, the lights are blinking and stuff, and then Ghostface runs up to her, and because, you know, she looks at the new guy, and then all of a sudden he's gone, and then boom, she gets stabbed. Ghostface puts the hand over her mouth, and nobody sees anything because Ghostface's entire body and cloak is covering up hers, and the girl next to her is asleep. And so after that, Ghostface leaves, and then new guy comes over to like save her, and she's all like, "Ah, crap, I got it wrong again," because she's upset she can't like figure out who the killer is and stuff, because she's the one with all this movie trivia. So at some point in time, you know, they try to track that of Ghostface using the cell phone, and Kirby using her know-how to do that because she can trace it in 15 seconds. So after some phone like banter between like, you know, Sam and like Ghostface, it's revealed that he's nowhere near them, and he's actually where Gail is at. So it causes them to race to find Gail. And the Carpenter sisters basically steal a cop car, and these two have the best chemistry and stuff, but it does come off a bit comedic at times. But anyway, Gail finally gets her phone call, which she almost got in the second movie, but Randy picked up the phone. And so we see she has a boyfriend there who is once again underdeveloped, and he's literally just there. Like, there's nothing to him. and he gets killed by the killer. Gail is like, running off the mouth with the killer. She grabs her gun, and then the killer busts through the house, and basically they chase around. He whoops her and everything like that, stabs her a couple of times. When, he's about to kill her, the Carpenter sister busts in and stop him. And so, like, once again, Gail got. And so, like, she gets taken off to the hospital, and we never see Gail again for the rest of the movie, which is a huge letdown because she is a legacy character. What is the point in bringing her in and she wasn't really going to do nothing? And not only that, but give her a boyfriend who does absolutely nothing. And Gail didn't even care if he got killed and everything. And so that's just so weird and bonkers. But anyway, it's trap setting time. And so from this point on, nothing in the movie makes any lick of sense. And it leaves you baffled and everything like that. Basically, the detective dude told, like, the Carpenter sisters, you can't trust, like, Kirby, this and that, because she might be Ghostface and blah, 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 blah. And so they're in the shrine, and Kirby has jerry-rigged it to trap, like, the killer. Well, the killer ends up showing up and talking to, like, the Carpenter sisters and all this other crap, and people are chasing each other, like, stabbing each other. Chad gets stabbed multiple times by two Ghostface at the same time. And they rip the knife out of him and do their typical clean the knife with the blade thing. But that seemed a little too corny when they both did it at the same time very fast. And so, like, you think Chad is dead, right? Right, getting stabbed multiple times by two people. Nah, just like the fifth movie, he has major plot armor. He needs to die. Seriously, there's no point for this character even being in the movie franchise because he doesn't do nothing. Every movie, he's a love interest. Every movie, he's just a likable guy, and then that's literally just it. And most of the time, he's barely in the movie. Like, he was barely in the fifth. He's a bit more in the sixth. That's only because he's just there as a love interest. And so, yeah, he survives and everything. And so, like, the killers reveal themselves, and it's Quinn and New Guy. It turns out they're brother and sister. Why? Because the detective guy is their father. And why are they doing this? Because they're related to Richie, which, again, is the plot from Scream 2. The whole family revenge thing. The shrine, which still makes no sense, the detective dude is the one who got all that stuff for Richie, and they want to finish his movie. So therefore, they do care about the movies, as opposed to them saying earlier they don't. And it's just the dialogue between all of them is just cringy and weird. Like, all three Ghostface are doing a bad job at acting when they're doing their whole reveal thing, especially the detective dad. Now, I've said this before. I have seen that man in plenty of stuff. I like his acting. Here, I don't know what the heck happened. His acting was just off. Same thing with Quinn. Her acting's been off throughout the entire movie. And I've seen her in another project before, which I really enjoy, called Light as a Feather. But her acting was not good here and stuff. And so, like, they're the ones who planted that rumor that Sam is the one who's doing all these killings and this and that, because they wanted to frame her. Just like Gail said, it's very true crimes what's going on now in the Scream movie. And I saw another reviewer once said that they need to retire Ghostface and just have the killer wear regular clothes and stuff, because the whole wearing a costume thing is over and they're going more on the true crime thing. I disagree with that. If you take away Ghostface is Scream, and Scream is Ghostface. He is literally the mascot of the Scream franchise, and Sydney is like the second mascot slash cheerleader and everything. Or at least one of the major football players and stuff. That's right. She's a football player. Gail's more of a cheerleader. And so you can't get rid of Ghostface. It's the whole mysterious nature of, like, the killer and stuff. It's this creepy, eerie mantle that people wear to, like, scare people. And if they go the regular like true crime person route, then you're gonna have I Know What You Did Last Summer, the television series, which was a huge letdown when the killer never wore a costume. Granted, you don't see killers wearing costumes no more in slasher movies. That has now stopped. Yeah, John Kramer kinda does it, but not really. But I get why this person wants to go away from that. But Scream is the only one who's able to keep it alive for this long, so I say keep on doing it. And so basically, there are just some weird chase scenes in this. Like, it's just so odd. Like, okay, there's one scene where the cop dude has a gun at Sam and she tries to use her gun, but it's not working. So she just charges at him and he never fires. He could have took her out right then and there. He had plenty of time. And then she just tackles him and everything. And not only that, but when she kills him, she's like, he's wearing a bulletproof vest. And so she takes the knife, and I like the way she's stabbing in this. She's stabbing the crap out of his arms because that's the only part the bulletproof vest won't go. She's stabbing the arms near the neck area. And so then, she's all like, I'll have mercy on you. And and the killer literally tells her, thank you for having mercy on me. That is not no good ghost face. But then she's all like, screw it. And then she kills him anyway. And then there's another weird scene where, okay, Tara is dangling from the balcony. And Sam is holding on to her. And Tara is slipping because of the blood that's on Sam's arm. And there's a killer to the side of Sam coming up. And there's another killer below where Tara is. So if Tara falls, the killer's going to get her. She's slipping, but guess what? A couple of inches away, she could just grab onto the balcony and she'll be fine. She didn't have to hold on to her sister's bloody arm slipping. And this is when I say the writing gets bad. So Tara's all like, it's okay, drop me, because she has a plan. She's gonna drop on Ghostface. Well, he pulls a little superhero move, and as she's falling, he stabs her in the stomach. Both sisters again stabbed and this and that, but they're still able to fight. So after shooting Quinn in the head after knocking her teeth out with a brick, which was funny, they say Ghostface is supposed to be the most brutal. No, Sam in that brick is the most brutal with the way she knocked those teeth out and the way she stabbed the dad over and over. So basically they stab the brother in the eye, but he's not dead. And then they throw the Stu TV on top of his head and he dies. And then Kirby, turns out she's not the killer, but she got attacked by the detective dude off screen. And so basically, they come out, and this is when they find out Chad is still alive, and Mindy somehow shows up out of nowhere. Like, Mindy literally just runs up to them as they coming out the movie theater after they're done killing the bad guys and stuff. And Mindy's all like, I know that Quinn's the killer. And they're like, yeah, we know. And it's like, how did she figure that out? How did she figure out that Quinn and the other guy were the killers? Like, there was no logical way. It's revealed by somebody Gail is in fact alive, but we don't get to see her. And so Kirby, she leaves and everything. And Sam looks at the Ghostface mask, and basically, because she used the mask and the costume and the voice changer and the buck knife to get the detective guy, right? And so now she's contemplating, is this a life for her or not? Because once again, we get a Billy Loomis hallucination and everything, which I have said before, I hate those. But she decides she's gonna drop the mask and live a normal life and not be a slasher killer. And so you're wondering probably where's her boyfriend at, right? Well, sometime after I think the whole Gale thing, they often go trap the killer. She tells him, look, I don't want you here. I don't want you getting involved in this. I don't want you getting hurt, this and that. They kiss and he leaves. Yeah, he really cares about her a lot, to the point where he's not going to go and save her, make sure she's all right. But whatever. It ends, and there was supposed to be a deleted scene when Mindy comes back and be all like, "We don't do end credits here," which would have been stupid and way too meta and everything. And so, like I said before, it is way better than Scream 5. But there are so many inconsistencies and bizarreness that happens in this movie to where you really question the writing. And yeah, the movie did really good in theaters, but then after people saw it, they just kind of like, this didn't make no sense. Like the whole Sam charging at the cop with the gun thing. Like he could have shot her. You know what I'm saying? And he never did. It doesn't. These are the worst Ghostface we have ever had. Once they revealed themselves, it was cringe after that. And you know, Scream 7 is a go, but Radio Silence, thank God, is not coming back. I just feel like they can't write for this franchise. The person directing the new movie is the dude who made the Freaky movie. And I think Death Day or something like that. I saw Freaky. I thought Freaky was pretty good. But he's known for infusing a lot of humor into like, you know, his like very bloody um movies and stuff. I think he made a Netflix movie and it was pretty bloody and stuff. And it was like 80s slasher. But he does infuse a lot of humor and stuff in his stuff. And so like hopefully he'll do a good job. Now there have been some reports that they want to keep the New York setting. I don't know why, unless they're gonna finish college and stuff. And if they do, they better show some more landscapes or something, or use the New York setting to his benefit, you know? And like, because you can't keep having Ghostface going out in public and people not trying to stop him. That's too unrealistic. And also, supposedly they're going to do it in the winter, but there's snow. That would be cool. We've never seen Ghostface in the winter. There are reports maybe Neve Campbell will come back and maybe she won't. So we don't know if she's coming back or not. If she doesn't get her money back and she just rejoins the franchise, then that's going to be a major L for her and make her look like a loser and everything, because she's adamant about wanting her money. And if she doesn't get it and just cave like that Walking Dead lady did, then that's going to look bad on her. But so far, nobody's really been confirmed to being in this movie. There are talks that Jenna Ortega might not be in the 7th because of scheduling conflict. Nobody knows. Most likely Courtney Cox will come back, but if she does, she better have something to do or she better die. Chad better die in the next movie because he doesn't really serve a point in this movie. He plays like the older brother love interest type thing, which is both creepy. You can't be both an older brother figure and a love interest. And he even does the older brother thing to Sam, but he's younger than Sam. Because he even told her bang buddy, like, go, shoot, 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 shoot. And I'm just like, dude, who are you? And you're always trying to, like, you trying to get with her sister and everything. And, you know, so, I don't know. And then there's Mindy, where they're gonna have to up their ante with Mindy. She just constantly can't keep doing the same. Like, her and Chad can't keep doing the same thing in this movie franchise. Tara and Sam are developed because Sam and Tara was completely different than what they were in Scream 5. And so, like, they are at least giving character development to them because, you know, they are the final girls. But in old slasher movies, you really didn't need no character development. You could have some here and there, but now we move past that. Even Gail has some character development throughout the movies and stuff, and Dewey. So there is room for that, but it's just like we move to the point where we expect all our characters to be developed. And of course, who is the killer gonna be in the next movie, because it should be similar to Scream 3, and we know what happened in Scream 3. So only time will tell. Before I end this video, I just wanted to point out some more peculiar, just odd, dumb writing choices that happened in this movie that I haven't mentioned before. So back when the core four was in the apartment talking to each other, Annika is nowhere to be found. And I mean absolutely nowhere. But then all of a sudden, once the killer shows up, all of a sudden she pops up out of nowhere. where the heck was she and what was she doing? As the core four was sitting down, just having a good time talking and everything and bonding, Quinn is in her room on the phone, talking to somebody as her brother is like, in the room with her and her like bang buddies in the bathroom. So where the world was Annika at? Then as Annika's like all stabbed with her plot armor trying to crawl like, across the ladder, everybody stops and then they're scared and she's just kind of like, what? Of course you should know what. The stupid killer's behind you, you fool. And stuff. And also, why didn't she hold on to the ladder? As Ghostface was just tilting it and everything, she slipped off, but why she didn't hold on to it? And then like monkey crawled her way across and everything. Like, I don't get that. Also, since, Quinn is obviously a killer and stuff, her brother was in the room as Ghostface, he takes the picture of like her all bloody and him trying to kill her. This is what I don't understand. The F-buddy across the like building. He was looking through the window the entire time, trying to get her attention and trying to get the core 4 attention. How did he not see she wasn't really getting stabbed and that her blood wasn't flying all around the room and that both her and her brother were just spraying blood everywhere? It's dumb crap like that. I'm so glad radio silence will not come back. Like, seriously, it's just like the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Then, after the attack and everything, Econ Boy shows up and Chad's pissed and, like, throws him up against the van. And the cops are looking at them and don't do nothing. So I guess, New York cops are like, we see people fight all the time. I guess if Jonathan Majors were there, he would have broke the fight up. And stuff. Then the most outrageous thing is like the father was the first one on the scene. So he took his daughter's fake body, made her high, and put another girl's fake dead body there and covered it up with fake blood. I'm sorry, but the other cops know what his kid looked like. They should have been able to know, like, yo, dude, this ain't your kid. But then again, like I said, he was the first one on the scene, but he's not the paramedic and stuff. Also, you can tell fake blood from real blood, and somebody should have been able to figure that out from forensics and everything. Also, why wasn't his daughter's body in the morgue? It's dumb stuff like that that has caused people to question radio silence. Then when somebody stabs Kirby, Sam pulls out the knife from Kirby's stomach. And I'm just thinking to myself, you're supposed to keep it in so she doesn't bleed out and die. Which somehow she survives this movie. Kirby's been shot and stabbed, and yet somehow she survives. And she bled out. And then somehow she had the strength to push a huge boob tube TV on Ethan's head, I remember his name, and kill his behind. The plot armor in this makes no sense. Also, I said Ethan got stabbed in the eye, my bad. He got stabbed in the mouth. And so then after he got stabbed in the mouth, he got a TV thrown on his head. Now, there's a deleted scene that was supposed to happen that never did, where Detective Bailey said, like, he wanted Ethan to kill his mom, but he didn't want to, and he forced him to. They should have did this to give Ethan something more and to show that, hey, he wasn't originally crazy in the head like the rest of his family, and he was forced and coerced into doing it. Because other than that, his character really just has nothing. He acts like a wet blanket throughout the entire movie. And so when you see he's the killer, it just, I don't know, it just doesn't add up and everything. Like you're expecting a little something to show he's a little kooky in the head. So here's hoping that Scream 7 will be written 1,000,000 times better. That wasn't that spooky. Alright, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.